Hello everyone, this is Korosh Erfani, and today is Saturday, March 14th, 2026. We are in the 15th day of the war of Israel and the United States against Iran. There are many things that are happening right now. Even at this hour when we are recording this video, and there are more and more missiles sent by Iran over Israel. All right. As we have already explained in our previous videos, there are the things that are not really going on as planned. And there are more and more explanations regarding why, the reasons for which we don't have really any plan that could be considered as normal. Even a few minutes ago, maybe you can see that CNN started to broadcast an analysis according to which there are real reasons for which we don't have anything really right in this war, and I can find more and more the things in this direction, but we have already explained the reasons for which it didn't really work out, and now we have a serious problem for the United States and Israel as those who started this war, right? And here you can see this this new article, how Trump's Iran war plan went awry after only a few hours. So just a few hours after having started, they realized that nothing can be done as they had planned. So you remember, there are many people who are talking about the Epstein Fury, Operation Epstein Fury. Why? Because everything was based on the blackmailing Trump by Mossad, by Israelis through the Epstein file, and the videos that they had from Trump doing the things that are not really good to say even, let alone watching them. So the idea is coming from the fact that in order to start this operation, they trusted only and only a very limited circle that were done by J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Peter Hegseth, and General Kane. Of course, with Trump. So only and only these 5 people were about the war. And if you compare that to what happened in 2001, 2003, it says that at that time there are several rounds of consultation, asking the experts about the different dimensions of the war against Taliban in Afghanistan, against Iraq, Saddam Hussein. So, and what's interesting, it says that even though they made all, the due diligence at that time by the book, but at the end of the day, we saw that it was a real catastrophe, right? Now imagine that only and only 5 people, 4 of them don't know anything about war. Okay? So can you imagine that just among this circle there was one real military figure, General Kane. Otherwise, these 4 clowns, really light head, and they were there to make the decision regarding how to start operation, how to go through the objectives, and how to finish it in between 24 hours or 48 hours, something like that. A little short excursion. So now we have a better idea about why this stupidity was really at its maximum when they started this war. And these are the people, I am pretty sure, one day the Americans will try to bring them to the court, right, in order to answer what they did to the United States of America. Now, in order to have an idea about why it didn't work really, several reasons. We have already talked about that. I don't want to unpack all the aspects, just enumerate some of the elements that showed that things are not really going in the right direction. The first one was they were waiting according to the promises provided by Israelis. And when I say promises, based on the fake information, misinformation, right? Completely lies and manipulated information. So they were waiting for an immediate victory. As I told you, they were talking about hours. Even General Kane, at a given moment, just before the operation, a few days before operation, started to talk about in a few hours we will reduce to zero, to ashes, anything that the Iranians have. And I am pretty sure that on the grounds of the information that the Israeli gave them, they thought that with this firepower and with these targets, it's a matter of few hours, of course, logically, right? Logically, or let's say logistically. Materially, of course, you can believe that you are able to put an end to the existence of a legal, let's say, military system. That was the one presented by Israelis to the Americans in order to bring them into this quagmire, right? Because Israel knew that once the Americans are there, they have to remain there, right? Once you are in the quagmire, you cannot get away, right? You are there and you are trapped and you are done. You are over. So that's why you have to do whatever is necessary in order to destroy the enemy, to kill them, to vanish them, to abolish them, to obliterate them, which means that mobilizing all the forces and all the resources of the U.S. military machine, right, in order to get to the objectives that are not really the objectives of the United States, but those of Israel. So Israeli knew that. So that's why, as always, they started to deliver a huge amount of lies and misinformation to deceive this stupid that was also blackmailed by the Epstein file. And with a few genius people that you can see in this image, the most genius military strategist, of course, this disastrous result was waiting from the beginning, from the minute one of this Epstein Fury operation, right? So that's the first thing that completely upside down the calculations of the Americans regarding this war. And from that moment, once you are completely shocked because the other side, the enemy, is showing something completely different, able to do whatever it wants, despite all the mighty firepower that you are carrying out over them. Of course you are shocked. And of course you have to recalculate everything in the worst way possible. The second element that we can underline coming from the first one, is the capability of Iran to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, right? We talked about that, and we said that the Americans didn't believe that Iran won't do that, right? Because Iran was also exporting the petrol over there. So they said that if you want to have the oil export, of course, the Strait of Hormuz must be open, and we saw that it was not really the intention of the Iranians. The Iranians had planned from years ago how, at a given moment, when it's necessary, to close the Strait of Hormuz. And as we can see, they are able to do it, and the Americans cannot do anything about that. Can you imagine that today President Trump announced on Social Truth, asking from other countries, the different countries, to come to help United States in order to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, right? So he named China, Russia, South Korea, France, India, and so on, to come to our help, right? And we know that none of these countries is ready to do any act. A few hours ago, even France announced that it's not sending any navy over there, right? Why? Because they know what is waiting for them once they are engaged with this quagmire of the Israeli and the United States. So here you can see France denies reports its warships are heading to the Middle East completely, right? So it means that now there is just United States, Trump with the other clowns, and we don't know Netanyahu is alive or not, but Israel, on the whole, taking care of this quagmire, and nobody is there to help them. No Arab countries, no European countries, nobody is there. And I'm going to talk a bit later about the attitude of the European countries, because they know perfectly that something extremely bad is waiting for the United States in the Middle East. But just to give you an idea about why now we know already that who is being defeated completely in this war. These are the reasons. First, there was no quick victory, and second, the calculations that the Iranian won't shut down the Strait of Hormuz was completely fake and baseless. So that's the reason. Another one, you remember, they had based all their calculations on the removal of the leadership in Iran, and from that operation, that part of the operation, getting the result for the whole operation, because they thought that without a leader, Iran will start to collapse. The people come to street, take over the power, and then they can come and, of course, disintegrate Iran. That was the idea. Removing the leadership, bringing the people over there. That's why the Mossad agent Reza Pahlavi was very active in this field. But you see, after 2 weeks, you have more and more people, in the streets in order to control everything, to assure the security of their country, and there is no sign of anything that we can consider as an action to remove or to overthrow the government. So complete mistake, right? A fundamental error of Israelis and, of course, the Americans, according to which there would be effectively, with the elimination of the leader in Iran, an uprising, and from that uprising, Israel will make everything that is necessary to disintegrate completely Iran. We didn't have that, and we won't have that. Today, Iranian Foreign Ministry Arakchi explained something that is very interesting. He said that, look, the Islamic Republic is a system, and a system is not really depending on any person, any specific person, or any group of people, right? And that's true. I can tell you as a sociologist that when you have a system, in the institutional meaning of the term, you can be sure that with one person or another one, the system will continue to work, to function. All right? That's a particularity of institution. That's a particularity of what we can call system. Otherwise, I think this mistake can be originated in the idea of extrapolating the conditions in Iraq, in Libya, where there was not really system. We should know that both cases, Iraq and Libya, was the tribal structure. That's the tribe. These are the people who have a kind of community structure, and where one person is not only at the head of the state and everything, but it's representing effectively the entity, and representing not symbolically but really. Right? Which means that the structure itself cannot function without that person. So it was not the case in Iran. You are talking about a country with 10,000 years of history, where the only thing that made lasting this civilization was only and only its organizational power, right? The capability to organize and reorganize every time Iran met a very challenging situation in its history, right? At any event, any historical event that tried to disintegrate Iran, this capacity of reorganizing, restructuring, and reuniting allowed Iranians to stay and to survive. It's exactly the same thing. As we can see, the political differences here are not really playing an important role. Even though there are many people who are talking about that the Iranian regime is not the Iranian people are not really what Iranian regime represents. That's true, but we are talking about a specific moment of the history. We are talking about a particular configuration of the events where the historical collective Iranian consciousness is activated, and that's why they are able to overcome all the political differences in order to keep the entity, in order to assure the survival of the nation state that is called Iran. They did it several times during the 10,000 years of history, and this time also they are doing it very easily. Right now, Iranians are getting ready to be organized voluntarily, as volunteers, to assure the security of their city, of their neighborhoods. So There is an organization, of course, under control of the state, and the people, the ordinary people, are coming as volunteer in order to get the training and, if necessary, the arms in order to assure, their security, their national security. This is how it works. This is how the Iranians are. We saw that several times, and even in the contemporary history, and not so long time ago, we saw in the 12 Days War that they are able to play this role, and right now they are doing it, at the best form possible. So, Israelis and Americans cannot really turn around this configuration that is able to resist this historic configuration of Iran that is able to show a huge degree of resilience, and resistance from itself. Also, we have to talk about the huge gap between the objectives of the United States and those of Israel. United States wanted to show off somehow to the world that I am able to bring down the most problematic government in the world, the Iranian government, the Iranian regime, right? And they thought that by killing Khamenei, they are toppling the regime. They are completely destroying the Iranian government. As I told you, it was not true, right? But this is what they wanted. This is what the Americans were thinking about as objective, as goals, right? This circle of genius, for them, it was really clear that we are going there in order just to kill the leader, the people come out and take over the control, take over the government, and that's all. And you remember at the beginning, Trump was talking about freedom, the end of dictatorship, the things like that, because he was made believe in this nonsense, that he was presenting. But at the same time, Israelis were really looking for something different. Israelis knew that if the United States is involved, incrementally, they will be brought to where they have to destroy completely Iran. They have to vanish Iran. And I am telling you, after 2 weeks, we can see that the Israelis somehow were right. Why? Because now a Trump that is completely panicked, right? And who is unable to find a solution to turn around the things. The only thing that he is thinking about is to go to the extreme. And I'm going to tell you what is coming up really as ideas around the White House, of course with the help of Israelis, in order to make it short, right? In order to make a clean cut and get to the objective as soon as possible without having to bear with a long-term damaging war. And I'm going to tell you what's the solution that is suggested by the Zionist Israeli circle around Trump. But just keep in your mind that one of the reasons why they are in this quagmire, it's because the Americans were looking for something, immediate, at full speed, to get in a few hours a very excellent result, something like the cartoonish operation in Venezuela, right? We know that all of that was completely a makeup, but they thought that they would be able to do more or less the same thing for Iran. Completely erroneous understanding of the situation. Now, other thing, beside this gap between the lasting, we can say, long-term objective of Israel and short-term, immediate objective of United States, there was this problem of losing the control of the Strait of Hormuz and, of course, the production of oil in the region. That's why the prices of gasoline here in the United States started to increase, and this is the Damocles' sword over the head of Trump. And Trump was not really waiting for that. And Trump is losing almost all his social basis just because of that. Why? Because millions and millions of Americans now are suffering. There is a huge affliction for dozens of millions of Americans, and they don't know why the United States went for a war that's not its, and why they have to pay for that, right? But this is exactly what's happening, and we don't know with oil barrel of 103 what would be next week, really the oil price and also the gasoline price. Another thing is that now we are accumulating more and more what we can say incomplete achievement of goals, right? And this is something contagious among the Israelis and Americans. They are all the time announcing something as achieved, accomplished, but a few hours, a few days, a few weeks later, we can see that they come back to that specific topic that we considered as done, we thought as accomplished, and they start or restart again and again and again. You know, one way or another, we come back to the square zero. You remember, Israel announced that Hamas is done. Now we have the forces of Hamas coming on Gaza and are acting, as the main controlling military force of that region. So Hamas was not destroyed, it's there. Israel announced that we have finished completely Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been obliterated. Now Hezbollah is there, and I am going to talk about the nightmare that Israelis are going through because of facing Hezbollah since I think it was Wednesday that they started till now. Right? So same thing for Americans. They announced several times that we obliterated the nuclear goals. There is no more nuclear problem. So if there is not, why you have to go again and bomb that country again and put the Americans' life at risk and put the whole American economy and global economy in shambles for what? For something that had been done several times. So nobody believes really in what they are saying. So this idea of incomplete achievements now is a really nightmare for White House and for the Israeli government. Why? Because nobody believes in anymore in their narratives, right? That we are going to finish Iranian army, we are going to finish Hezbollah in Lebanon. Nobody believes that. And finally, this huge chaos in the narrative of victory. several times during these last 2 weeks, President Trump came out to say that it's done. Now we have won. We won. We won. Iran is defeated. Iran is over. But again, we see Iranians sending huge missiles over Israel, and they are targeting almost any American bases in the region, and I'm going to tell you what the Iranians are planning. So if you put, all these elements one after another, you can understand why when you start a war that is not really well planned, right, well organized, you don't have any chance to win. So the quagmire is there. And as I told you, the logic of the quagmire is that the more you make the efforts, the deeper you sink, right? This is an example. Now the Americans are preparing some 5,000 additional troops to send to the Middle East, right? Because CENTCOM is asking, and they have to gather, from here and there, the Marines, and sending over there in order to do what? We don't know exactly, but anything that they want to do, for example, to go and take the Hark Island, after having bombed that, it means that they are really risking the life of 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 Marines over there. Can you imagine that just one island with all those people over there, and all this capability of the Iranians to send the short range, mid range, or long range of missiles over there, or the drones? That would be a slaughterhouse, really. And I cannot imagine that any high rank officer of the American military is ready to accept such a stupid plan and putting at risk the life of a lot of Americans over there. But it's possible. Why? Because the quagmire's logic, the quagmire's rational. This is it. You want to get away, you want to get out, so you move, and with each move you go deeper, right? Look, now we have some news according to which Israelis are trying to use the American drones that had been copycat of the Iranian drones Shahed to send to the different countries that Iran doesn't want to target, like Turkey, for example, Saudi Arabia, in order to bring them against Tehran. So that's why today Al Jazeera is reporting, according to Iranian force, Iranian IRGC, saying that US and Israel are using copycat drones to frame Tehran. To frame Tehran for regional attacks. And they said that we invite our neighbors' country to be very attentive about this framing, this deception of Israel in order to, provocate a war between Iran, with Turkey, with Saudi Arabia, and so on. So it means that they cannot really defeat the Iranians in a conventional way, in an ordinary way, even though they have said that they had done it once, twice, I don't know, several times, but still we can see that now they are using deceptive tactics in order to bring a supplementary force against Iran, so that maybe at a given point they can, I don't know, damage the Iranian forces in such a way that they cannot really replicate or react. Now, in order to show you that how functional still, how operational are the Iranian forces, they published a list of the industry, the different industry, the American ones, that they want to target in the region. Okay, which means that they are ready to have the very precision surgery operation, to the American corporations, different American companies that are in the region. As you can see, that's a list, and IRGC warns that major U.S. corporations in region must be evacuated. Why? Because all these companies with their buildings, facilities, infrastructure over there will be will be targeted by IRGC. So it's a matter of Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Microsoft, Oracle, ExxonMobil, Citigroups, banks, and so on over there, with the precision about the city and the country. For example, in Amman, in Jordan, or in Abu Dhabi, in Emirates. So a list, and they are warning the people who are living around these buildings belonging to the American companies to evacuate. You see, Iran's Revolutionary Guard warned U.S. to move industry out of region. So can you believe that a country, according to Trump, whose army, whose navy, whose air force, and everything had been completely vanished, obliterated, drones, missiles, and everything, is able to precise not only the military bases of the United States, but also the American companies have to move completely out of the region. And I am telling you that this is happening really for the case of Iraq, for example. You know that for years Iranians were asking the Iraqi government to put away completely, to put out, to evacuate the Americans from these countries. And what's going on is that now it's happening. For the first time after 2003, now the Americans are really fleeing the country, so they are evacuating their bases in Baghdad, in Erbil, they are walking away. They are going away completely. This is for the first time, and massively the American forces are running off. Right? They are getting off Iraq. Why? Because now the Iranians are able to open a new front through the proxies that they have in Iraq, a new front that is different from Iran, right? Because now United States has to waging a war within the Iranian territory, and now there is another front where the Iraqi militia groups are attacking the Americans in the Iraqi territory. So that's why there is a call for, the U.S. Embassy urged all Americans to leave Iraq immediately. So they are fleeing. They are completely getting out. And I don't know if it's not a huge victory for Iran, what could be? Same thing, it's happening in Israel. Israel is a complete mess right now. We have more and more news I told you, even when I am recording this video, we have the alerts, warnings, sirens in Israel. And on social media, you can find really lots of, despite the huge, unprecedented military censorship of the Israeli government, you have lots of videos that shows really the huge damage for the Israeli. In such a way that, as you can see now, Haaretz is reporting that Israel is running critically low on missiles, interceptors amid Iran war. And they are asking Americans to give them more and more interceptors. Can you imagine that? The Americans had already said that they don't have enough for themselves to defend the American bases in the different Arab countries of the Persian Gulf. Now Israelis are saying, are requesting more and more interceptors. Why? Because otherwise they cannot defend themselves in front of the Iranian missiles. Also, Iranians started really to chase the high level of the political and military leaders of Israel in such a way that now they are the gossips, the rumors, according to which Netanyahu and some of the other people of his cabinet had been most probably injured, if not dead, killed, because for now it's 6 days that we don't have any image, any news from Netanyahu, right? And the news are telling us that another General Rafi Milo and David Milo had been killed by the Iranian drones over there, right? So they started to chase the top level of the leadership, political and military leadership within Israel. So what does it mean? It means that Israel cannot defend itself. It means that Israel is in extremely bad shape with regard to, defending the different barrages of missiles and drones that are coming from Iran, right? Not only that, now, because I have a lot of videos talking about this, right? Really, the huge damages in Tel Aviv and elsewhere in Israel. But let's talk about a new front. We had Iran, then we said Iraq, and now let's talk about Lebanon. That's the third front of the axis of resistance, as they called them, against these two countries, United States and Israel, in this war. So Hezbollah is hitting the northern Israel by missiles, drones, and the Israeli cannot defend. Unbelievable. They cannot intercept all the missiles that are coming. So that's why there is a real chaos and panic over the different cities of north of Israel. And not only that, they are not able to take care of Hezbollah as they want, because for several days now, the Israeli army is trying to gather enough troops in order to invade one part of Lebanon, the southern Lebanon. But we know that they are not able to do. Why? Because in that region, which means from southern Lebanon toward the north of Israel, look at what we got today as news. Hezbollah defies Israel propaganda and redeploys, which means sending forces, sending ground forces, redeploys elite forces south of the Litani River. So they are coming and they are taking, the position and waiting for the Israeli army to come. And as I told you, I mentioned the war of 2006 and what they did, what Hezbollah did really to Israelis over there. Hezbollah is looking to renew, that huge defeat that it imposed to Israeli army. And with this chaos, with this really upside down situation in Israel, I think this time the army will be extremely vulnerable because chain of command is hit. Chain of command is completely disorganized. Most probably, some of the most important element of the Israeli army has been lost, has been killed by the targeted Iranian attacks. And from that moment, we can be waiting for something extremely bad for Israel in that region. So, I have to add some other elements to this picture of the 15th day of this war. We got some news according to which there is a kind of trend of rebellion among the American soldiers. Here you have one example talking about rebellion within the U.S. Army. It said that due to thousands of U.S. soldiers refusing to go to the battlefield for Israel and die, internal rebellions are taking place at many U.S. military bases. We have had already the news about the navies that are sabotaging, on the Gerald Ford's carrier navy over there, and also setting fire in another one, aircraft carrier, I think George Bush. So it means that now there is a kind of consciousness among the Americans in general, and specifically American soldiers, that they are going to a war that is just for the Epstein file, because their president was someone extremely, extremely corrupted, sexually speaking, and now Israel is blackmailing their president and bring the United States into a war that is right now making the American economy collapse. And of course, the American army sent through a huge adventure where their life will be at stake, right? So nothing is really working out for the United States up to now, and the situation is just getting worse and worse and worse, hour after hour, hour by hour. Not even day by day, hour after hour. Now, let's see what could be more elements to add to this nightmare, because as you can see, we got the breaking news from 2 hours ago with more and more attack of Hezbollah over the Israeli soldiers in the Avivim. So Hezbollah is right now really on the run here and there, all over the places, we can say, in order to hit the Israeli army, and they are doing so. So also I have to add that the new assessment by those who know really what they are talking about, it shows that the idea of escorting the tankers, the cargoes from Strait of Hormuz by the American army is just a fantasy. Right? It's just a ridiculous idea. Why? Because the conditions are such that technically it's almost impossible. Look at what we have here. Geography favors Iran in any war to open Hormuz. Okay, any attempt to open the Hormuz will meet the challenge of geography. What does it mean? The shipping lanes are so narrow. Tankers and naval escorts are sitting ducks, right? It's like a almost fixed, unmoved target, because the strait is so narrow that in order to pass from there, they had to get to the minimum speed, and at that moment, they will become the easy target for anything, for any kind of firepower that Iran can provide over there. They can target them, they can hit them, they can strike them easily. That's why it says perfect for Iran's drones and mines. Trump is caught in the escalation trap. Doubling down only makes things worse. Everybody is talking about that. You see, that's the quagmire logic that I was talking about. Anything you do in the quagmire brings you more and more deeper down. So after Germany, after Spain, and also Italy, now we have the confirmation, as I told you, from France, that they won't be, involving in what is happening in the Middle East, which means that the whole burden of this situation will be on the shoulders of United States in a very bad mood and Israel in a very bad shape. That's it. They wanted that. They got that. Now the solution Mr. Trump found in order to control this narrative that is bringing him down with the GOP and with the with the Trump mafious empire is to threaten the media in the United States that if you are reporting what's happening in war, you can lose your license. And they went so far, that now they are threatening the people like Tucker Carlson, because he's very against this war, right? He's very critical regarding the war that he considered as Israeli plot for bringing the empire, the American empire down, and that's why he's diametrically opposing to this war, and Israeli wants to somehow do away with him, right? They want to eliminate either physically, like the Charlie Kirk, or at least to put down his, his program with hundreds and thousands, and in some cases even 1 million viewers that are informed, who are informed about this Israeli plot to destroy America. So that's why we should be waiting for really a kind of, state of emergency, military government, coup or something coming from Trump and other genius people like Peter Hegseth in order, to completely silence society and the opponents for this real quagmire, for this catastrophe that cost already $2 trillion for the stock markets across the board. 1.5 trillion of that is just for the American stock markets. So a huge blow to the American economy. And another point that I wanted to share you in this 15th day of war is this news. As you can see, there was a mass protest erupted in Hama. Hama is a region of Syria where last time also the first uprising came from that region. And as you can see, this is a new protest against the agent of Mossad that had been installed over there as president. You remember the killer of Al-Qaeda, Jolani, the agent, the crypto Hebrew, he's Jew. We know that he's Jew, and he has been trained by Mossad. He was a part of Al-Qaeda, which is another creation of the Zionists. And once the Assad government was toppled down, this agent of Mossad took over the power over there. Now the people are realizing how their country is in the hands of Israel, and we have an uprising, we have the protest. And I am pretty sure that that would be the case in other Arab countries if the crisis, if the economic crisis continue. And of course Iran knows fully, completely what is going on right now in the Arab countries. Iran knows exactly the weakness of these dictatorships, these Sunni dictatorships of the Persian Gulf, and if it wants, Iran can really play with this card, because it has a huge network among the Shiite and also other people who are the opponents, the different opposition of these completely corrupted Arab countries in the region. All right, let's conclude. As you can see, just 2 weeks after this war, everything is going against the direction wanted and planned by White House and Tel Aviv, right? We can talk about a difference of 100%, or if we are very relative and moderate, we can talk something between 99% to 100, okay? A little less. So otherwise, I don't see any sign that can be considered to the good, right? Anything that can come, and to put an end to this nightmare of the United States and Israel. I don't see how this process really, this destructive process for the United States, for the Zionist entity, can come to a halt. There is no way any important element that can turn around this really dark situation for America or for Israel. When it comes to prediction for the future, I have to tell you that it's really bad. Why? Because on the one hand, we know that they are not really able to accept the defeat. They are bad loser, and they know that by accepting the defeat, they are completely, completely done, over for I don't know how many times. And let me finish with this very important, very significant point. Here, you remember in my previous video I mentioned two options. The first one is accepting the complete defeat of the United States and Israel in the face of Iran, right? Accepting and recognizing that Iran won the war, the victory of Iran and accepting to fulfill all the requests of the Iranian side. The famous three requests of recognition of any international right, like the enrichment of uranium, compensation and recompensation for the damage, for the material damage, billions and billions to pay to Iran, and finally, international guarantee for not repeating this stupid war again. So these are the conditions. And Trump said that, no, I am not ready for negotiation because their conditions are not good. Okay, you want to continue? Let's go. Let's keep on. And I mentioned second option yesterday, and I said that automatically all our analysis lead to this conclusion somehow without wanting it beforehand. We can see that any analysis can make for finally this dark option, which is to nuke Iran. Here it is. Haaretz is reporting that top Trump advisor calls for off-ramp to Iran war. Why? Because he warns Israel may consider using nuclear weapon. Right? And tonight, even Tucker Carlson is talking about the possibility of nuke Iran by the United States. So both of them. And I had told it a long time ago that the final outcome Israel desires for this war is just getting the United States nuke Iran. And of course, if there is no this eagerness by the Americans to do so, Israel will do it by itself, as this Trump advisor is telling us. So, one way or another, we are going to have most probably Iran nuked, right? They are going to bomb Iran with the nuclear weapon. It's a matter of a few hours or a few days. If there is not really a huge, important element, something that can turn around, I am pretty sure that this situation that is completely desperate for America and for Israel will push them, and this process as an entity will make for nuke Iran, for bombing Iran with the nuclear weapon. I am really, really scared about that. I am really worried about that. And there is a reason. I have already explained it before, which is that the first nuclear bomb in Iran would be also the last bomb that will be used before the starting of World War III. We must not really have any doubt about the disastrous consequences of the usage of atomic bomb in Iran. I know that the perspective of a very disastrous end, for Israel, for the Zionist entity, and for the mafia of the Zionist, Epstein class and Trump here, push them toward the unimaginable, what is unimaginable. But they are able to do so. Believe me, they are able to do so because, and now, after 2 weeks, it's sure, it's certain, it's there is no doubt that they are losing this war. They are for sure going to lose this war. And that's why we must be waiting for an extreme radical reaction from these bad losers. I hope that won't happen, but the hope is one thing, and having a deep knowledge about the dirty, filthy nature of these people is something else. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you share these videos with other people so that we can have more and more audience and viewers in order to have different ideas and perspective on what is happening. Thank you.